It's a budget phone, only $400. That's a third of the price of some of those flagship phones. But is this thing worthy of your pocket? I'm going to check it out. The new Galaxy A35 5G. Check it before you wreck it. What's up, my fellow geeks? I'm Kirk. Here's the thing, I totally get it. We all love those flagship phones, the new Galaxy S24, the newest iPhone 15. Those things are awesome. They're great phones, but they cost a lot of money. And maybe you don't want to spend that kind of money. Or maybe you broke your flagship phone and you need a replacement on a budget. The Galaxy A35 5G is only $400. But how does it compare? In 2024, can this hold up anywhere near those flagship phones? We're going to find out. I'm going to unbox this, show you what comes inside the box. We'll take a closer look at the accessories and the phone. And then if you make it to the end, I'm going to power this thing up and show you the screen, because you really do have to see the screen quality of the A35 5G to make a decision. So let's get this thing over to the table and get the A35 5G unboxed.
Here it is, guys, the Samsung Galaxy A35 5G, one of the newest budget phones from Samsung. Let's take a closer look at the box itself. It's got a picture of the phone on the front, a very simple box. Says the name of the phone on the side. It's got some legal mumbo jumbo on the back, tells you what's inside the actual box, and that is pretty much it. This is a very simple, very small box. Just like the iPhone boxes, these boxes continue to get smaller and smaller to be more eco-friendly. Now, I've already ripped open the seal, so let's open up the box and see what is inside of the Samsung Galaxy A35. So in the top of the box, it looks like we've got just maybe some accessories and some documents in here. Very, very basic SIM ejector tool on the back of this packaging. I'm going to get into this thing eventually, I promise you that. I'm going to rip this thing open if I have to. There we go. There's the stuff we're looking for. And it looks like we've got a cable and a quick start guide. Terms and conditions as well. Just the basic stuff you'd expect. I mean, this thing's only a couple of pages. So there's not much going on here. Just a basic layout of the phone itself. And then the charging cable is a very standard USB-C charging cable. As you can tell by the size of the box, I'm guessing, there is no power brick in here. All you get is the USB-C cable, which has become pretty much the norm. All right, let's pop the phone out and see what we got. Give it a little jiggle, and you can see the phone is wrapped in this sort of soft cloth, papery sort of thing that protects the phone, which is always nice. We'll unwrap this so we can take a look at this, and here it is. Pretty cool. The Galaxy A35 5G, not too shabby at all. What do you think? I kind of like it. First thoughts, I like it. It feels good in the hand. It's got a pretty good size to it. They say this is the largest Galaxy A series screen that they've ever done on an A series. It's a 6.4-inch diagonal screen, AMOLED. It's a pretty nice screen, to be totally honest with you. I'm kind of liking it. It's got a resolution of 1800 by 2400 pixels. On the back here are the cameras, 3 cameras, and the flash. Specifically, by the way, the cameras include an 8-megapixel ultra-wide-angle camera on top, 50-megapixel wide-angle in the middle, and a 5-megapixel macro on the bottom. You can see on the top here, you've got a microphone, you've got a SIM card slot. Let's sort of take a look around the sides of the phone. This side, you've got nothing. That's the blank side. On the bottom, you've got, it looks like a speaker and then a USB-C port, as well as a couple of more microphone holes there, I'm guessing. On the other side, you've got a power button, you've got volume up and volume down, and that's sort of it. On the front, you've got that screen and the 13-megapixel selfie camera, by the way. Let me power this guy up, and we'll check it out. Turn it on. Obviously powered by Android, running Android, and this is going to have a Samsung One UI built into it as well, the typical Samsung software, although the startup and the setup screen will look very familiar. I'm going to zip through all of this for you because, to be honest, this used to be a quick process, and it's become quite the process on not only Samsung phones, but Google phones in general. Let me get through this for you. Through the magic of YouTube, I am now finishing up this setup. It took a good, 4 or 5 minutes. I basically skipped everything, didn't add any Google accounts or any of that stuff. And here we go. It's connected to the Wi-Fi network here in my home. And there is your home screen on the Samsung Galaxy A35 5G. And I gotta say, first impressions, this screen is pretty slick. taking a closer look at the screen, and you know what? At this AMOLED, the resolution, all that stuff, even the bezel. Look at the bezel around the screen. It's not small. It's bigger than some of those flagship phones, but it's nice and even. It creates kind of a cool border to the screen, I think. And if you look at the pixel density, I'm pretty happy, generally speaking, especially when you consider the $400 price point. The pixel density on this screen is great. The colors pop. This is an impressive screen. This would have been a flagship screen just a couple of years ago, and now it's a $400 phone. Pretty amazing when you think how far we've come and what you can get at this budget price point. So being a budget phone, you don't get a Snapdragon processor, but what you do get is what they call an octa-core processor. They rate it at 2 gigahertz or 2.4 gigahertz. Here you can see some of the apps. Google apps, Microsoft apps, kind of interesting, Samsung apps, and then the usual apps you would expect. If you've ever had a Samsung phone, especially recently, you're going to know exactly what you're getting here with the One UI, the look, the feel. Let me drop down the top menu here. It is a little sluggish here because it is installing all the apps, but I will say, generally speaking, it's super responsive. That octa-core seems to be doing a pretty good job here. I'll have to wait for all the apps to finish installing before I get a real good impression of what the speed of this interface looks like, but it seems pretty responsive. Just a couple of sluggish spots once in a while, but again, it's installing multiple apps. Let me jump into Google Chrome and just pop over to a website real quick. Here we go, jumping right into Yahoo just to get an idea of how quickly it loads pages up. It's pretty snappy. As you can see here, it's pretty smooth when it comes to scrolling. Let me see if I can zoom here, pinch to zoom. Just sometimes, yeah, that's what I figured. Yahoo doesn't let you pinch to zoom. It's got the screen locked. So let me just jump over to a different page so we can kind of test that out, just to see the responsive and the snappiness of the interface when you're zooming in on web pages and pictures and such. All right, here's apple.com, and there you go. Yeah, you can see it's super quick, super responsive. And again, this is with multiple apps being installed in the background right now, which if you have Android, you know that is definitely one of those things that can kind of slow down the phone itself. And we're seeing that with some of the interface here. But again, very nice. Take a look. I like the rounded corners of the screen. It looks really cool. Very iPhone-esque, honestly. But at such a budget price point, $400 for this phone is a steal for, again, a phone that would have been a flagship phone just a few years ago.
So what do you think? Are you shopping for this A35 5G? Do you already have it? Throw a comment below. I read every single comment. I reply to every single comment. Go ahead, test me. And I'd love to hear your feedback. Do you want more in a full review? Let me know what your questions are. And I'd love it if you'd subscribe to the channel. It helps me out here on Tech It Before You Wreck It. I'm Kirk.